Yo, I just want to give a big shout out to everybody that pulled up on the most recent Black with No Cream live stream featuring 𝐅𝐻𝐋𝐋𝐖, a VFX superstar. He's won 2 VMAs and he graced us with his presence. 𝐅𝐻𝐋𝐋𝐖 has worked with some of the biggest names in the world, and in this stream we broke down the most important fundamental skills a videographer needs to learn first when entering the visual effects world, the power of creating spec work to showcase your talents as a creator, and lastly, the best way to go about building clients as a VFX artist. Our attendees were able to join us via video chat and ask their specific questions directly to 𝐅𝐻𝐋𝐋𝐖. And they asked some amazing questions. If you missed the stream and you want to check out the 1.5 hour long replay, click the link in our description below and you'll get instant access as soon as you register. All right, now back to the podcast. And we are back with another morning roast edition of the Black with No Cream podcast, where every Wednesday morning we deep dive into creative topics with the goal of giving you a daily dose of motivation and inspiration. I'm your host, Ben Haggerty, aka Ben Real Verse World. This is my co-host, David Malave. What's happening, Dave?
Nothing, man. We chilling. We're about to get another morning roast in.
We are. It's a beautiful Friday.
It's Friday, but you listen to this on Monday. Wednesday.
On Wednesday, yeah. Today's topic is titled How to Build a Brand from the Ground Up. We called with our new feature that we have on the podcast. If you didn't check it out last Wednesday, you should. We called J.R. Strickland. But today we called Gavin Simcoe. He's our homie. He's the Director of Digital Consumer Experience and E-Commerce at Dutch Bros Coffee, a massive coffee company. And he previously was the Director of Operations at ASRV, which is a really massive workout brand. Is it like a global workout brand or a national workout brand?
I don't know, but if you work out, you probably heard of him, I guess.
Probably heard of him. There's shit's mad comfy. Super experienced in building brands, so we wanted to call him and kind of talk to him about his experience building up these different brands from kind of the ground up. ASRV was more like that, and Dutch Bros already kind of had a big grip on it, but he's made a massive impact in the brands that he's worked with. So I think this is going to be a cool episode. But before we do that, if this is your first time tuning the podcast, you are probably wondering,
what the fuck is Black with No Cream?
Great question. Black with No Cream is the illest educational resource for content creators fueled by caffeine. Or at least I take my coffee black with no cream, but you can drink or not drink whatever caffeine you fuck with and still be a part of our community. We have thousands of members from all around the world working together by sharing content, asking for feedback, passing tips and tricks along to one another with the goal of pushing each other to become the best motherfucking content creators on earth. And you can join our private group if you want to by going to bwnc.com/join. We would love to fucking have you. Please join. And without further ado, I bring to you this morning roast episode and the second most epic podcast intro ever created right motherfucking now. Welcome to the morning roast, a place where you will get the most info from a deep dive into the topics that really need life with your host Ben and Dave, coming to you live today. Grab your cup of joe and take some fucking notes, you bitch. All right, this is it. We have Gavin on the motherfucking phone. Gavin, how you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
We're doing great. Where you at right now?
Dutch Bros headquarters in Southern Oregon.
Southern Oregon. We never have been, but we shall go some point in time. If you could real quick, just kind of give like a summary of what you do in a nutshell. I know we gassed you at the intro, but if you could just kind of let the people know what it is.
Yeah, so basically manage brands online, their digital experience, with a focus on e-commerce and selling products. So that's the lane I fell into with Dutch in the past. Kind of built my career from content creation to operations to just kind of building brands from the ground up. So do a lot of that at Dutch even still. I mean, it's an established brand, but the brand's never really done. So still doing that with Dutch, trying to find their way as we enter new markets, and then working with a ton of companies on the side to help them penetrate the online marketplace, because e-commerce is steady growing.
Right. And for people who don't know, Dutch Bros is a massive coffee company up in the Northwest that Black with No Cream has partnered with several times already in the past. Did some awesome contests. You've helped us out so many times just in our brand building entity, because we don't, me and Dave are just trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah, I think he helps us more so with man, this dude's like a real business wizard as well.
Unreal business wizard.
But
appreciate that.
Also, like we said earlier, you did a bunch at ASRV, which is a athletic wear workout clothing line that's like kind of fashion forward, and you worked with them like from early stages, right?
Yeah, when I joined, we were actually going by Aesthetic Revolution back then. So I joined as like employee number 2, I think technically, but they were just kind of getting started. I mean, I think Jay had just finished like selling out shirts that were cut into tank tops at that time, and I got in on the ground floor by pitching him an app, and he actually just brought me on to handle fulfillment, and I just got the opportunity. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna run with this as far as I can.
So at the time, as this dude's establishing a brand based off of whatever network he has, as far as fitness goes, you come in and you're trying to help elevate the brand and get the word out about the brand. Essentially, like that was your main focus at that point, right?
Oh yeah. Like he had, so the logo for ASRV is like these wings, and that was kind of a nod to this this bodybuilder that had passed away. His name was Ziz. From Australia, and so just kind of trying to find that lane of people that were passionate about what Ziz was doing and what Ziz was about, but bringing it post-mortem and bringing it to athletes, and we call them athletes, but bringing them to like influencers basically who kind of followed the same mentality that Ziz had in bodybuilding, where it was like, don't take yourself too seriously, but look good, look your best always. And so just trying to find the lane in modern influencers that kind of had that. And so we were really marketing to these people that were big Ziz fans, but trying to put our own twist on it and make it our own. So kind of piggybacked off of an ideology, I guess, that was already established, and we built the brand on that foundation. Which
I think is common in, like, if you look at like a rappers and shit back, they were used to just like if a rapper put out a song, other rappers would find the instrumental and redo that song in their own way to try to like kind of coin their own term in the sense of like letting people know what they're capable of doing, right? So it's like almost in the same sense where you're playing off the steam of what that dude had created while he was around, you know?
Yeah, I think this is a great segue into the rest of our conversation, because that's like the ideology, and I feel like the strongest thing you can do, and I want to hear your opinion on this, the strongest thing you can do with the brand is create like the lifestyle or the story or the identification behind it that people can like grab onto, you know what I mean? So for example, like I'm wearing a Vans hoodie right now, right? And when I wear a Vans hoodie, what that represents to me based on things I've experienced with the brand is, live free, carefree lifestyle, off the wall, like California, skate, surf, like you identify with those things that the brand has like put in its pocket, you know what I mean? And with ASRV, because even before I knew you, Gavin, that their content, like which you were sure a part of from the jump, attacked me on Instagram, was like this, like, workout in wherever you are, like fitness lifestyle, throwing tires, work, like running in the streets, but also looking fly while you do it. And so then if you see, like today, I saw a guy working out in the gym in a full ASRV fit, and that person like probably feels pride in wearing that to the gym because of what that represents. You know what I mean? So
which you curated.
Right. So which you curate. So how do you, and I'm sure when you go to Dutch and you're looking at their content, you're like, all right, what story are we creating? Like, what does Dutch represent? So like, how do you feel about all that? And like, how do you, like, what do you even do to start to implement that?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just whiteboard sessions. Like we're doing it a lot right now with a startup called Brand X with Odell Beckham Jr. And it's like, you can't have enough, like, just whiteboard sessions, writing words down, word associations down, activity associations, because all of those sessions ultimately build out what your content flow is going to be. It's going to build out what kind of influencers you reach out to. You really, when you're in those whiteboarding sessions, you're really creating your ideal consumer by writing everything down, like running through every scenario in which the product it makes sense for the product to live in. And so like with ASRV, men's fashion on Instagram was getting big. Like there was just a lot of dudes, just posting pictures like walking in the street. And
right. That's so funny.
Like seriously, yeah, it's hilarious. Because it was literally like there was these dudes that were millions of followers, and it looked like they were just like on their way to go get coffee, and it was a men's fashion Instagram account. And so with ASRV, it was like, athletic wear is mostly shown in the gym. And what, Jade really figured out early was like, no, you wear your gym clothes to the gym, you wear your gym clothes after the gym. And he really kind of honed in on that these products don't have to necessarily live in the gym, which plays to the lifestyle of someone who's in fitness. And so we really started to focus on like content that was outside of the gym to kind of showcase that lifestyle.
I think you did a good job of that so my introduction to that company and you was through Schoolboy Q. When we were on tour, you guys swung by and we all met everybody and whatever, and then you guys gave us like a gift box with a bunch of just gear, tons of hoodies and sweats and awesome shit. I literally still have 2 of those shirts I wear to the gym today. Like the quality I think is I wasn't a gym rat then. I wouldn't even say I am one now. I like to get in and get the fuck out. But like I liked it for casual wear. Like I would literally wear the sweatpants and shit every day on tour. For like as soon as we got them, that was all I really wore the rest of the tour as like a casual, comfortable sweatpant. I think I literally retired them like not too long ago just because they were worn out and shit. But it was really comfortable to me. And then it kind of, after I started seeing the ads, it was interesting how the ads almost played to me not being a gym person. Like the content I would see wouldn't ever really be in the gym. That's interesting to think of, like how they target me versus Dave. Like if Dave goes to the gym, Dave loves being in the gym, so they may hit you with ads probably that are more directed towards that. Which is that possible?
That all comes down to just like that just comes down to audience segmenting in Facebook Business Manager. And so you basically are serving ads to people in what they call a lookalike audience.
Right.
And so like if let's say Dave follows John Skywalker, and John Skywalker is like heavy gym rat bro, and we're serving ads to lookalike audiences to John Skywalker, Dave's going to get, the content that speaks to Dave is going to be like that heavy gym rat, because we know, hey, Dave already follows John, he's used to seeing this kind of content. But then with Ben, I'm not a part of this anymore, so this is kind of speculation on what they're doing, but with Ben, it's like, okay, Ben follows these content creators, and, content creators need to have comfy clothes too. And so, it might be a little bit more of an artsy shot focused to Ben based on a lookalike audience or some influencer that you follow that we're targeting people that follow him on.
So yeah, that shit is so fire to talk about.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because that's what I was thinking. I'm like, I literally only see ads where these dudes are looking mad comfortable, but in front of like a car or outside. Well,
because everything that I experienced, what caught me with the brand, and we'll get off this in a second because he's done way more than this, but I always thought this was interesting because it's from the ground floor, which is like what we're talking about. And the ads, I've told you, Gavin, this before, but the ads that hit me were like these handheld, super dope, like almost one take style workout videos where it's like, let's say it's some guy and he's like doing a tire flip, and then he's doing some ropes, and then he does like a bunch of pull-ups, but it's all shot in this really tight, like boxing style film. And they were short 1 minute.
Shouts out to Gordon Casey, who does all the video for ASRV. He is a beast with that shit. Like he fully elevated the video out of that.
So when you started working with them and you were identifying, like, okay, what was his tactics of marketing before you got in there? Could you answer that question first?
Like, what was he doing to market before that?
Yeah, like what did you see he was doing, and then how did you see like how you could, like, because say you're trying to get a job doing this, you want to come in and pitch ideas to these companies that could help elevate them, obviously, and you want to be a tool and an asset. So like, what was he doing, and what did you see that he could be doing differently that would help change the game for what they were doing?
Well, when I came on Aesthetic Revolution, it was like a straight fitness meme account almost, so it was like a lot of like, post-mortem photos of Ziz with like inspirational quotes, and then there would be like every once in a while there'd be a picture of Jay in a stringer tank top, like up against like some textured wall, and so he was really playing onto this audience that like a fan page almost of Ziz when he started, and this was back in 2014.
Right.
So the game's changed a little bit now, but he basically took that like fan page, and I think you can speak like in today's world, it's like, you're a brand, you have a product that you want people to have in their hands. What kind of lifestyle fits in with that, that product? It doesn't have to necessarily be your product all the time. It can be, like with Brand X right now, it's like, it's a workout supplement, it's a sleep aid, it's a pill you take in the morning to get your focus right. And so what's what's adjacent to that product throughout someone's lifestyle that you want to target. And so it might just be someone, you know, a mom, like busy as shit in her house. Like, this is a bad example, but cleaning shit up and like feeling stressed out, like that imagery, we need to figure out how to extrapolate that and put that into content. And
right.
So,
or it's like, or it's like, I'm just spitballing too. Like, let's say it's like a business person, but they're in the gym and they wake up and it's 5 a.m. It's 4 a.m. and they're in the gym and they work out, so they need that morning focus. But then they're switching to the work clothes and they're walking in and you could tell they're a boss. And then they get home and they got a family and then they got to go to bed, so they need a sleep aid. So you're targeting like a high performance individual or someone who's like, you know what I mean? And then you're targeting people that like high performing people, you know? I don't know.
Exactly. And that's actually like a word we've whiteboarded out before, is high performance. And that's not just physically. That's like, I got to get this, you know, presentation to my boss tomorrow.
Right.
I need to be able to focus. And so, so back to your original question, like with ASRV, he was fan paging, sprinkling in his product to people that wanted to support the idea of Ziz. And then I came on and it became more product focused. So because he had another person, it wasn't just him walking around with the camera shooting photos of himself.
Right.
I go around and shoot with him. And then it became, you know, kind of that lifestyle brand where we started focusing on, you know, these influencers that were obtainable to us and shooting with them, so that way we could piggyback off of their following, because anybody who gets their photos taken, like, they want to post those photos on their socials.
Right.
So we would piggyback off their followers, and then they would see the brand through tagging, and then they would follow the brand, and then it snowballed. You know, I think Michael Vasquez is an example. He's still with ASRV today, but he was like this calisthenics kind of workout anywhere kind of guy, and we found him, or I think maybe he reached out to us at like 30,000 followers, and he was just someone. I remember screenshotting his photo and sending it to Jay and being like, because he was doing some b-boy shit like upside down, and I was like, I want to see him upside down in the ASRV hat, and I want those wings on him, and it was, you know, it was also identifying people that we thought were gonna explode into the market, like,
yeah, that's dope,
and grow with us too. You know, it's not always about getting the follower with 6.9 million followers. Like,
right.
by that time they're blown out, they're expensive, the market is sick of seeing their fucking slim tea shit. They're not as authentic to like a small following of people that really fuck with them. So those were two things, is like fan paging and finding influencers that actually were authentic to what they were doing, and not just rushing for the numbers game, because it's blown out.
With your play on Dutch Bros, you've played a couple different roles at that company, and obviously working your way up the ladder there. What has been some of the main tactics that you brought to the Dutch team that you feel have, you know, really helped the business grow socially, as far as a brand?
Well, with Dutch, like, so much of what I do is actually in the marketing technologies, and just making sure that, I mean, with 386 stands and all this data that's stand specific, a lot of my time is just built on getting them marketing platforms that they can, you know, one, it's very operational, like making sure that stand hours are the same on Yelp and Google and Facebook, but that's marketing, right? That might be operational, but it's still marketing. But then aside from that, I manage the Dutchware social account. So Dutch Bros has like this clothing line, this like merch aspect of it, and that's really important to Dutch Bros because, you know, we have 10,000 employees that all fuck with the merch, and so that merch doesn't just live in the stands while they're at work. It lives when they're out on Saturday, or they're hanging with their homies, or they're, you know, doing whatever. And so a big piece of my job is to carry the brand through the merch side of things, and make sure I have my boss, Jason Hanlon, kind of my boss. He handles all the manufacturing and all the design and everything. And then I get this box every, couple of weeks, and it's like, all right, tell the story of the aspirational Dutch Bros employee. Yeah. And inevitably that makes it to the employee. The employee loves the merch, and then they're handing the coffee out the window, and the customer sees it. And now the customer is like, oh shit, that's a dope hoodie. they go on to shop.dutchbros.com
Exactly,
and they buy the hoodie.
Yo, I think we experienced this firsthand. And first off, for anyone who doesn't know, a stand in Dutch Bros terminology is like a store, which is fire.
It's like a drive-through, small building. You drive through and get your coffee, and it's awesome experience.
So the thing that we learned firsthand when we went to Kocha, which is their like nationwide event where they bring all of their employees from all over the country to 2 different events to like promote the company, the brand, the culture, etc. Like, and what I love so much is that, or what that was crazy to experience was how hyped people are and how much people feel the culture of Dutch Bros and how much they want to like exemplify that, which I feel like is a true success, because if you build any company, the first thing you want is culture, and the fact that it like trickles all the way down to like, Jake in Arizona, you know what I mean, who's working at the thing and he's wearing the Dutch Bros hoodie, and he's hyped and he's excited for the customer and whatever. And the fact that it's crazy to think like, the same thing is happening with your own employees, where you're kind of creating a story that, okay, I'm a Dutch Bros employee, which means I'm happy, I'm positive, like I'm kind, I'm showing up to work and I love my job type thing. And you can like bring that message through with merch that they wear.
And right, it's validation. I mean, any brand, any product, like what you're doing is like with ASRV, with Dutch Bros, we're validating that consumer. Like we're giving them like the authority to feel cool, or the authority to like rock with an ideology that they identify with. Right. And so at ASRV, it was like, hey, like we support you in your mission to, look your best and be your best. And at Dutch Bros, it's like, we are validating your sense of like style. We're validating your lifestyle, where we want to elevate like what you can wear in the stand, but also what you can wear outside of it. It's kind of corny, but it's like, any brand or any product should be hoping to elevate, the consumer's experience in wherever that product lives with them, if that makes sense.
I think that it's cool to see how you guys you established that within the brand entity so well, and it's part of the identity. Like having gone to the Kocha thing that we saw, the excitement through the, like, I've never seen anything like it. Like I've never seen anything like it except for a Beyonce show or Schoolboy Q. When I go to concerts and I see these fans go crazy over merch, that makes sense to me because they like look up and idolize this person. But you guys found a way to make the company so appreciative, like for the people who get to work for the company, they're appreciative of the job. And it's like, that is part of the brand mission. Like that's what the brand is to these people. Whereas if I go to Target, it looks like that person wants to get another fucking job.
That's facts. And that's what I was saying, success in culture building, because that's not just a merch thing.
No.
Like that's a top down thing.
Like they were excited to see each other. These people wanted to meet each other. They wanted to scream and dance and talk to, like, I was like, what is happening?
That gets influenced on the person you work for, like in HR. It's at the interview from jump.
Yeah.
That's how they're treating you. From when you walk in the first day, that's how they're treating you. That's how the people you're working with are, because they picked those people. And so then it's like carrying all the way through, which is insane.
And I think this goes for, and Gavin, weigh in on this, I think this goes for all levels of brand building. So for what you see, it's like there's possibilities to grow at Dutch, right? From what I witnessed. It's like, you guys even sat there and talked to them like, hey, you might be a barista right now, but you could work up to become a manager. And if you become a manager, you could work at corporate and you can literally make this much money as a salary, like doing this. And you could see a potential to grow, which is great for people who don't know what they want to do with the rest of their life. And they could see like a lifelong career at this company. But if you take that same mission and show positive options for people to grow within, like, say it's a film company and you just started your film. I'm trying to tie this to our listeners, but like, if it's a videographer and he starts a company or she starts a company doing, I don't know, local productions in their home city, whatever, and they look at starting to grow. All right, cool. I want to hire an editor. I want to hire another shooter. I want to hire someone that does sound design and all these things. And you start building out your team. What is some advice that you could give to them as they start building the team and the brand behind the scenes, but also how this is the second part question, would be how to start building their social brand publicly. So like, I think it's important that you want people in your, like Dutch those people are going to guarantee, if I walked into a party tomorrow and some kid was there that worked at Dutch and we talk about what we do and I act like I didn't know what Dutch is, they're going to scream it down my throat. Dude, Dutch is awesome. We make the best coffees and it's the most fun place I've ever had as a job. Like that person is trained now to go talk like that because they're amped. No different than if someone told me a Beehive fan was like trying to explain to me why Beyonce is so awesome. You know what I mean? How would you do that? What?
So your question's kind of based on like leadership. Like how do you trickle down the culture to your employees to make them as amped to work for your company as you are to grind on with your business? That kind of.
Oh, sorry, I thought it cut out. Yeah. No, yeah, I think leadership, but also the goal is like driving leadership to build the brand identity. Like
I think this we got tailed off, but how this ties into our original topic is the idea of like. I think where it ties in is what we're talking about in terms of like Dutch employees, just for as an example, or like the brand living outside the product, where like the brand becomes the way that you portray what the brand represents, even when you're not like even when you're outside of the workplace, or when you're not wearing a van, when you're not wearing Vans, you're still like identifying with that lifestyle. Or with Dutch, you're not working, but the brand is like influence the person.
Right.
And right. So what I would say is, because I think I get the gist of the question is I'm a big fan of brands who have multiple hooks. So what I mean by that is like, let's use ASRV as an example. It's like, we're going to show the apparel in the gym and outside the gym, and so that you can identify with that lifestyle. But at the same time, we're going to play like a smooth hip hop beat because we think you probably like hip hop. And if you recognize this beat, boom, we got you hooked on that one thing.
Right.
And we're going to use this influencer here, and it's going to hook you there because you already followed that guy. And now you're like, oh shit, they're working with this guy. And I fuck with that guy. Like, that's awesome. And then we're going to, there's going to be another video that has like a slight EDM leaning, like just finding different ways that you can hook in your consumer that are outside of just your product. Like Vans or Red Bull does this so well, where it's like Red Bull does it the best. It's like snowboarding, skateboarding, skydiving, like this all this crazy sports. Shit, the most extreme shit. But they're trying to hook you on each of those things kind of individually. And that's really like, that's really them kind of hedging their bet on like one thing ever falls away. We got these other 18 hooks that have the same kind of power to it.
Right.
And so finding ways that you can pin your brand up against multiple adjacent kind of
avenues,
lifestyles or avenues that you can stand next to, and it doesn't throw anybody off because it fits, but right. It's just, and TDE does this really well too. Or Dave Free, that was like somebody that I watched really close, as I was starting up, because there was like these little hooks that kept me curious and kept me freeze framing the video to catch that one thing, that one piece of text that disappeared really fast or whatever. Like,
right.
It's about being creative in how you're portraying the brand so that it aligns with other lifestyles. If that makes sense.
No, it does. I know you got to go. You got a meeting in like literally 2 minutes. So I want to fire off the last question. If you could give any advice to a creative that's just starting to figure out how to roll out their brand or understand the importance that they need to create a brand identity, maybe whether it be a creative trying to get local work, doing, typical production work, if it's touring, photo, video, that type of shit. What piece of advice would you give to an overall creative to really establish their brand from the ground up that doesn't cost, a shit ton of money investing on like Google ads and things like that you could do kind of organically?
I think as far as like creative goes, it's like, don't be married to your original idea. Like listen to feedback and be willing to adjust. And, like ASRV started as a hardcore fitness brand. And if we were married to that, we would have failed.
Right.
So you have to be willing to kind of adjust and kind of feel out like who your audience is and what's working and what's not. And just let the idea grow by itself rather than, like trying to hold the idea down to what you want it to be. And don't be too sensitive.
Love that.
That's dope.
Very true. I know you gotta go.
We could talk to you about a million things. We'll probably do this again, honestly. But thanks for coming on.
Sounds good, guys. Appreciate it.
Do you want anyone to follow you on Instagram?
At Gavin Simcoe.
There you go.
We'll leave the links in the description.
All right, thanks, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Homie.
Appreciate it, bro.
Good luck.
Hey, later, boys.
All right, peace. Big shout out to Gavin for coming on the show. That was awesome. We're interested to know what you guys think about this new element to the morning roast. We are able to call people in now, which is pretty dope. Hopefully the sound quality is there. We're testing out a few different options, but please leave us comments in the YouTube description. If you're not on YouTube for some reason, you don't want to go there, you can DM us, whatever. We're just interested to know if this is, if it's working for y'all. We think it's kind of dope. And who else should we call? Who do you think we should call? We can call anybody.
Let us know.
Let us know in the comments. Who should we call?
No, I think it's cool because we're hyped about the idea of bringing in, because me and Ben are only limited to our knowledge and our experience. But when we bring in all creatives that we have access to, they can give us incredible stories or insight into topics that maybe we wouldn't have covered. So I think that's kind of the goal. Is now we're trying to expand into maybe me and Ben don't know about segmenting ads and targeting and building brands, but this guy does.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think we can talk about anything. That's dope. Shout out to all the Patreon people. We appreciate y'all. Shout out to Ethan who joined recently in the goddamn homie tier. Nice. We appreciate you guys doing that. If you haven't joined Patreon, join thehomies.com. You can help us keep the lights on. We appreciate that. And that's it. It was awesome.
Yep.
We'll see you next week.